to take control. Extra, read all about it. Evidence coming to take control. Lock and load, steal souls and watch it explode. Dispatch the death squad and watch it go. Serial killers, cadavers, murderous psychos. As the hour goes, it takes the time. Expires as we live dead, revitalized. Surprised by the high with red still in our eyes. The pleasure is all ours to give you the power. This is the maniacal hour.
It is Saturday, November 6, 2021. You're tuned into The Blow-Off, powered by Hamin Media, presented by the Hamin Media Group at channelattitude.com. On this week's show, we're talking WWE releases, financials, full gear, some New Japan. But before we dive in, it's my obligation to remind you this is a podcast by the fans for the fans, bring you all the news that is news from across the professional wrestling world. Find the show online, theblowofppod.com, at The Blow-Off on Twitter. My name is Dr. Jargo, PhD, and that's my tag team partner. He's the COVID kid. He's the man, the myth, the legend. He's the GAG from the PWC. He's my man, Jimmy T. Jimmy T, if the B-roll before we started recording is any indication, today is going to be a very fun show.
Absolutely. I'm pumped, Jargo. I can't wait to get into this shit. Put it that way. I'm really looking forward to it.
I look forward to this show all week because you never really know. Like, I sit down about 20 minutes before we start recording the blow-off. I'm like, what are we going to talk about today? And this week it was pretty easy, Jimmy T, because we got to talk about all the WWE releases. I know last night over at Uncaged, over at the Hamin Media Group, Rampage Uncaged, our little Rampage review we did, you said you can't wait to talk about all the releases. Jimmy T, what's your take? I mean, WWE, they let go of about 20 people over the course of this week.
Well, you know what, man? There's a few conspiracies going on, actually, since we last spoke. And the rumor has it that a lot of these guys are the anti-vaxxers, hence why maybe they got released. But then in saying that, Sasha Banks is also an anti-vaxxer. She's still part of the roster, so I don't know. But what do I think, man? Well, I'm hearing, for example, Keith Lee got released because of health concerns. Apparently, he's due to COVID. He's got a heart issue. I don't know how true this is, but I can see why maybe WWE would have released him. You know, they're probably concerned something might happen in the ring with him, which is fair enough. I can understand that. He has been acting a little bit weird online. If you remember what he was saying on Twitter, you know, he will soon say the truth and whatnot. The one that really confuses me is Killer Cross. I mean, boy, did they, destroy this guy. Seriously.
Well, I can probably dispose a couple of these rumors for you.
Please do.
From at least from what I have heard kind of behind the scenes. I do not think vaccination status was an issue here.
Okay.
I have not heard that in any respect as far as like in an official capacity. I've heard the rumors out there, but I think that's all that they are. I think people like to talk a bunch of shit, especially when it comes to the vaccinations at this point. People just assume immediately, oh, it's got to be COVID related. Well, no, it doesn't. Because let's take Keith Lee, for example. Keith Lee's a pain in the ass. I've heard that about Keith Lee for a very, very long time. The whole bask in my glory thing, that's a shoot, brother. Keith Lee, thinks that he is absolutely fantastic. He doesn't have anything to learn, and everybody should just listen to Keith Lee, and the world would be a much better place. Now, of course, before we started recording, we were talking about Hulk Hogan, and Hulk Hogan also had the attitude that you should bask in my glory, and the world would be better if everybody would just listen to me. And that kind of got us through the golden era of professional wrestling. So maybe we should listen to Keith Lee, and maybe business would go up. But unfortunately, Vince McMahon doesn't like being told what to do, and so Keith Lee has always kind of been on Vince's shit list. I'm not at all surprised that they let Keith Lee go. I don't think it had anything to do with what you see on camera or creative issues other than the way WWE does things.
Right. Well, you know what else is interesting? I'm hearing another rumor now. I don't know if you've heard this one before, but apparently Triple H could be looking for a way out of WWE. He's actually trending in the last 24 hours since these releases. And apparently there's a chance like I said, it's just a rumor. I'm not sure how true it is. It's probably bullshit, but that he could start his own promotion.
The wrestling community needs to calm their tits, bro.
This is from Wrestling Observer Online. This is from the Meltzer Schmelzer himself.
The guy that I don't believe anything that comes out of his mouth because, oh, well, plans change. I mean, like the guy that everybody just rips apart because he's always wrong and he never has anything good. Like, really? That's the guy that we're going off of. Okay. Yeah, no, I don't see it. From what I have heard, Triple H's heart issue was a little bit more serious than what has been leaked out to the media. I don't think he's necessarily trying to get away from anything. I think Hunter is just trying to get better so that he can hang out with his wife and kids. I mean, Triple H is not a spring chicken at this point anymore. I don't think that Triple H has any desire to go off and start his own promotion from scratch and build it up to be a rival to AEW or WWE. I don't think Stephanie has any ambition to let her husband go and start a rival company to her father's. Like, the more you think about it, the less sense it actually makes. I think Paul Levesque is just trying to get himself right so that he can continue to exist in any kind of capacity at this point. Like, there is life after professional wrestling. It's not like Paul Levesque needs the freaking money. He doesn't need the freaking headache that comes along with the pro wrestling business either, by all indications. Oh yeah. And all those years of, whatever he was taking, I'm sure doesn't help his heart. So like maybe it's just time for Paul Levesque to be like, you know what? I'm not going to be Vince. I'm not going to be doing this crap until I'm 80. I've got enough money. Screw it. I'm just going to call it good. I don't need it.
Absolutely. I mean, hey, he's done what he's done. He's done well. And if it is a lot more serious, which I think it is too, yeah, I think it's time, he worries about more his family and his kids and, being able to actually play with his kids because, man, I think it was a lot more serious too, and I hope we do see him again, though, man. I mean, I don't know if
maybe a very, very different looking Triple H.
Oh, can you imagine him all anorexic and shit, like lost all that muscle? And nah, man, if he's gonna look like that, I'd rather not see him ever again. Honestly, I'd rather not.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's. I think Triple H may be gone, and now all we're going to be left with is Paul Levesque, and we may have to like really draw kind of that line in the sand of what is what at this point. So Keith Lee, also as well as Frankie Monet, also known as Taya Valkyrie, Ember Moon, Karrion Kross, which you mentioned, along with his wife Scarlett Bordeaux, Grand Metalik, Nia Jax, Harry Smith, Mia Yim, Eva Marie, and Hit Rose, B-Fab, Oni Lorcan, and Lindsay Dorado. I think those are all the big names. There were also some developmental talents that were released, some that never even hit television. Oh, yeah, well, I guess Harry Smith is also in that category.
What the hell?
That one just absolutely baffles me because, I mean, you've got the family legacy. You've got people inside the company who love the freaking guy. That one just absolutely baffles me, but I very much look forward to his return to New Japan Pro Wrestling. Or I could see Harry Smith going to All Elite Wrestling. But I say that in the context of, I would love to see Harry Smith and Lance Archer back together as the Killer Elite Squad. And I think they could just go buckshot through that AEW tag team division. If you're going to give me KES versus like the Lucha Bros, the Young Bucks, the Proud and Powerful, FTR, the Men of the Year, like, I think they would be a welcome addition because we need some guys with size inside of that tag team division. Everybody kind of wrestles the same style, which is okay. And it makes for some good matches, but I feel like styles make fights. And I want to see the little guys trying to take down the big bad monsters and the Killer Elite Squad. I mean, they are that. Like, they can go out there and seriously fuck up some luchadors, man.
Well, what I don't understand is why they rehire Harry Smith in the first place.
Why they let him go in the first place?
Well, exactly. I mean, like, I don't understand. Like, why would you want to let him go anyway? But have you seen what Frankie Monet has actually said, aka Taya Valkyrie?
No, I guess I have not. I've been out of the pro wrestling social media loop. So like all these ridiculous rumors that you're bringing to the table, Jimmy T, first I'm hearing of them.
Well, this is not a rumor. This is actually coming from her, and I don't know if you want me to read out her
Yeah,
statement.
absolutely.
Well, she goes on to say, well, that didn't go as planned. First and foremost, I'd like to thank WWE for allowing me to live my dream, even if it was cut short. To say I'm disappointed would be an understatement. I'm confused, hurt, sad, and honestly mad. I came there as one of the top luchadores of our era, honestly leaving there a little broken. I loved every day when I got to work, when I go to work, being around the greatest minds in this business, getting to train in the best pro wrestling training facility in the world, and see my friends every day. I was completely enveloped in the entire in the entire industry. Thank you to Triple H, Shawn Michaels, and the entire PC staff for welcoming me with open arms and allowing me to learn from you. I know who I am, I know what I've done, and I know I have more to give. This is just another swerve in my journey that I didn't expect. But to be honest, my life has always been filled with those. I'm a fighter, I'm stubborn, and I'm very good. I'm a very good pro wrestler. Thank you to everyone that supported me through this chapter and blah, blah, blah. You know, just everything else. But the way she said, when she said, I'm disappointed and confused, I don't blame her, dude.
Taya Valkyrie might have the worst timing of anybody in the pro wrestling industry right now. She went into NXT at absolutely the wrong time. I mean, she debuted on television, 6 weeks before this whole thing went down with the whole NXT 2. Like, just terrible timing for Taya Valkyrie. I think she is absolutely right. I think she's one of the best professional wrestlers in the world on the women's side of the roster. And that is the first phone call I'm making if I'm Tony Khan. If I'm looking at this list of people that have been released, there are 2 talents I am calling today with no caveat whatsoever. And those 2 talents are Taya Valkyrie and Ember Moon. I think both of them would be very welcome additions to that AEW women's roster. So we don't have stuff like Red Velvet versus Allie on national television. I would much rather see Taya Valkyrie versus Ember Moon any day of the week.
Well, let me ask you this then, Jargo. What do you think? Do you think Tony Khan's going to hire some of these guys, or does he stay away and actually concentrate on what he's got right now? I mean, where would you go if you were Tony Khan?
And that's why I say of all these talents, those are the 2 that I'm calling today. Okay. There are a couple other ones that I would entertain calling, but it would have to be for specific circumstances, like the Harry Smith thing. If I can put Killer Elite Squad together, then absolutely I'm going to call Harry Smith. I might call Keith Lee if I can get Keith Lee with Shane Taylor as the Pretty Boy Killers inside of that AEW tag team division. I like that a lot. And I get Mia Yim as an added bonus for the women's division. If I can bring in those 3 as a package, then I'm going to call Keith Lee. Otherwise, as a single star, I don't think I do. I mean, but the only 2 I call, like, no questions asked, Ember Moon and Taya Valkyrie.
So you wouldn't look at Cross, say, and and Scarlett?
I know a lot of people are very, very high on Killer Cross, Karrion Kross. I've never been one of those people. And I can't really explain why. Like, there's something about Karrion Kross that has never clicked with me. And I feel like he is playing too much of a character rather than being the person that he is. And that's fine, but he goes so over, like, he's almost cartoonish to me when it comes to the facial expressions. The offense in so many ways for me is just not believable. Like, Karrion Kross could not pick up some of these guys and toss them around the way that he does. It's just, there's no way. I don't believe that. And people are way higher on him than I ever have been. I think Karrion Kross is probably going to take the Impact Championship away from Moose. And I feel like that is probably the right place for him. I don't think Karrion Kross works. You going to put Karrion Kross in the ring with Kenny Omega? Because no.
That's a clash of styles, dude. Big
Okay,
time.
so even in the TNT division, are you going to do Karrion Kross versus Sammy Guevara? That doesn't sound appealing to me whatsoever. Like, why would AEW bring in Karrion Kross when you already have Malachi Black? You already have Andrade. Like, you already have all these guys that fill that kind of spot on the roster. I don't see a place for Karrion Kross in AEW. And I know that's the unpopular opinion.
Well, you know what? You're spot on. I mean, you just giving that sort of comparison to Malachi Black and Andrade, it's true. They're practically the same sort of thing, except the one thing about Karrion Kross, Killer Kross, whatever you want to call him, Kevin Kross, whatever it is. Have you ever watched any interviews of his?
Oh, yeah.
He's a smart dude. He
absolutely. I want more of that and less of the cartoonish Hitman, TikTok, Dark Apocalypse. Like, that part doesn't work for, like, it feels like a guy who's trying too hard to play a professional wrestler.
True. I mean, when you think about it, he hasn't been in the business for that long.
No.
You know what I mean? He's only been in the business, 5 years tops, 6 years, if that. I mean, and he's not that young either. He's in his mid-30s. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, look, I'm not one of those guys that is full high on Killer Kross. I'm not like, oh, you know what I mean?
I know a lot of people are. I just never have been.
But as far as him going to Impact, I don't think after, the debacle that happened with him and Anthem, I don't know if he would ever go back.
Where else does he go, though?
I'm hoping he goes to MLW, actually, dude.
I mean, to me, the best landing place for Kross, I'm afraid, is going to be the best landing place for Taya Valkyrie. And that's down in Mexico. Like, she was a huge freaking deal down in AAA, right? And I'm afraid that she ends up there, where I actually would love to see her end up in AEW, because to me, like, Thunder Rosa versus Taya Valkyrie is a program that you can sign me up for tomorrow and let it go on for 3-4 months. I'm totally down.
I'm pretty sure you'd think AEW will look into her, man. I mean, they'd have to, bro.
Well, and how long until Mundo is on his way, too? I mean, what are we doing with John Morrison?
Johnny Drip Drip? That's what we're doing, bro.
I was having this conversation with the Ayatollah bin Hamin just the other day, right? When you look at the world of professional wrestling right now, there's so much Lucha Underground kind of influence going on.
Absolutely.
The main event of the first episode of Lucha Underground was Johnny Mundo versus Ricochet, and they tore the freaking temple apart.
As Prince Puma, wasn't it?
Prince Puma, right.
Right. And I prefer Prince Puma over Ricochet, just quietly.
But now, that's like the main event of main event.
The main event of main event. It's true, dude.
Johnny Drip and Ricochet, who can't get himself out of catering. I can't believe Ricochet wasn't released. Unless they recognize his value, because Ricochet is one of those guys that the second he walks into AEW, he's a bigger deal than he's ever been in the WWE, because everybody knows how good Ricochet is, and WWE does nothing with him. It's almost like, the Aleister Black thing, where it's like, do something with this guy. Oh, you released him? He's immediately a bigger deal in AEW than he ever was in the WWE. King Ricochet is going to be the same way.
Well, to be fair, he was back on SmackDown actually just yesterday, so he's back.
What was he doing?
He lost.
To?
Oh, who was it? I can't even remember, dude. All I know is he lost.
You can't even remember.
I can't even remember.
Who beat Ricochet yesterday? Like, that's the level Ricochet is at in the WWE. He walks out on an AEW stage and people are like, oh shit, here we go. Let's do this shit, right? Immediately, he's a bigger deal than getting beat by somebody who I can't fucking remember.
Oh, see, look, it was Drew McIntyre, dude. It was Drew McIntyre. Absolutely destroyed him.
You forgot Drew McIntyre?
I forgot. Well, to be fair, what is he fucking doing,
Aussie
dude?
Bastard.
What is he doing, though? Honestly.
Who knows? Why is he beating up Ricochet, of all people?
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. Like, what is he doing? What is he doing? Who the fuck is Drew McIntyre? He's gone down to mid-card status, bro.
Oh, I
You know what I mean?
cannot
He's
wait
nowhere
for
near up the
Ricochet to
top.
leave the WWE. Oh my God, I cannot wait. That's like a counting the days kind of situation for me.
Well, put it this way, dude. I'd rather him turn up as Prince Puma or part of this Alistair Black sort of circle even. You know
The
what I'm
Black
saying?
Puma?
Oh, the Black Puma. There you go. Everything with
How
black
hard
in
is this shit?
it. See what I mean? And imagine, like, do the reverse color way, right? You know how he was sort of yellow with the black? Do all black with bits of yellow.
Didn't they do something like that where he was like a dark Puma for a while? And he was getting more serious and almost acting kind of heelish, and he was wearing like black trunks with like the orange.
Maybe.
I
Maybe. I can't remember.
I seemingly remember that.
I cannot remember, but yeah, maybe. But I think it'd be so much cooler, dude. You know what I mean? Prince Puma, King Prince Puma. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
He will get released soon. Don't worry about that. Give it the next wave of releases. He's out, dude.
Grand Metalik, Lindsay Dorado. I think they go back to Mexico where, you know, they can kind of get lost with Samurai del Sol, which that kind of went over like a fart in church on Wednesday night, didn't it?
Well. To be fair to the formerly known as Kalisto, right? I think his partner, what was his name again? The partner?
Aerostar.
Aerostar, that's it. He's the one that really botched shit up for the both of them, to be fair, dude. He really botched.
But when he tried to do the lucha, I thought like he was gonna get mobbed. Like, no, we don't do that shit here. We're not marketed to freaking 7-year-olds in AEW. No, get the hell out of here.
He's done that so people know who he actually is, to be fair.
I don't think anybody cared.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. I don't think anybody cared.
No one gave a shit, bro. No one gave a shit.
FTR is calling themselves the greatest luchadors. Are we going to have like a stream of luchadors coming over from AAA to challenge for these titles until like the Lucha Bros take them back? Is that kind of the inevitable plan? Like, who else do you want to see challenge for these belts?
For the AAA?
Yeah, for the AAA titles.
It's going to lead back to the Lucha Brothers. I mean, surely, come on.
Or does it lead to like Roosh and Dragon Lee coming in and just like, you know, fucking these two guys up? Because Roosh don't lay down for nobody.
Hopefully, but the thing is, Jargo, every week when we do these elaborate plans and bookings, right?
I know it gets you excited, and then you get disappointed. It does.
That's what I was going to say. I get excited, bro. And then I look forward to it, and then I'm like, hang on a minute. You know what I mean? That's us saying this shit. These guys don't even see this shit. You know what I mean? So hopefully, I don't want to get my hopes up, because really, when we talk about this stuff, it gets my hopes up. I'm not going to lie.
I think one of the guys with the highest like upside on this is Oni Lorcan, because I could see Tony Khan bringing in Oni Lorcan to work like some dark, maybe some elevation, and Oni Lorcan just gets himself over with the fans to the point where Tony Khan signs him. Like I could really see that happening because all Oni Lorcan does is get himself over. I don't know if it's the goofy look that he has. Like he's that dweeb that you just wanted to kick his ass, but then he went and he became like a state amateur wrestling champion. And it's just like continued to like twist people into pretzels his whole life. And he's a tough dude. And all he does is get himself over. Like I love me some Oni Lorcan. The 1-2 punch was one of the best things going in NXT.
Absolutely, dude. And you know what I think? You know what I really think all these releases really come down to it? I personally think WWE is just being ahead of the game, dude. I think all these releases really come down to, you know, due to COVID. Yes, sure, WWE's made record profits, right? But I'm telling you now, man, we're going to get a recession soon due to COVID. It's going to happen. There's no ifs or buts about it. And I personally think this is WWE future-proofing themselves in case we do get a recession. That way WWE doesn't fall too far back. That's what I think. Because right now their shares are $60, I think, a share, which is still great. You know what I mean? I just think that's what's going on. I mean, I think they're just thinking ahead. They're a business, dude. It's all about business, man.
So let's talk about the business aspect. They released their financials the other day. The same day that they release like 20 talents and they call it budget cuts, They report that they made $256 million in the third quarter.
That's crazy.
And that's a budget cut. I mean, when I look at all these names, Eva Marie might have been the talent that was making the most money. None of these names are big names, big money names. Budget cuts, Jimmy T, like we got to get rid of Keith Lee because of budget cuts. We made $256 million in the third quarter. Like, just the timing and doing this on that day, literally on the day they report their financials of $256 million just for the third quarter.
Well, to be fair, do you remember the last conference call before this one? What do? They released Bray Wyatt while Vince was saying in the conference call, we're more than happy to feed AEW more wrestlers. That's what he said. That came out of Vince's mouth. And what happened? Bray Wyatt got released later on that day. So, I mean, this is a new thing, dude. Once the conference calls happen, I think it's, remember the WrestleMania cuts? Well, this is becoming the new WrestleMania sort of cut day. You know what I'm saying? And what about Joe? I'm surprised somehow Joe hasn't been released yet, even though he was released. I mean, he's pretty much released, even now in many ways. I think I don't know what they're waiting for. I mean, they're mentioning him on AEW. You know what I'm saying?
There are some talents to where contracts are coming due. And I don't know what Joe's contract status is, but to me, Samoa Joe is one of those names, kind of like a Charlotte Flair or a Kevin Owens, to where you feel like it's a foregone conclusion that they go to AEW, but they're worth too much to AEW for you to just release them and let them go. Like, they sit at home and they write out their contract for however long it may be. They're too valuable. We're not just going to cut them and let them go.
I don't think that'll be give a shit, bro. Not anymore. If they do it with Bray Wyatt and the likes, I mean, why would they even care now? And don't get twisted. This is all Nick Khan's doing. Let's be honest. That's who's doing this shit. 100% it's Nick Khan. But you know what gets me? I want to see Nia Jax in AEW. I hope I don't get heat. I said this before on Uncaged. But dude, her and Nia Jax as a team. Come on, dude.
Why?
Why? Because they could just eat.
Like, there's so much good women's talent in the world.
Right, but it's
why
intriguing.
would we? I understand it's intriguing, but I don't see the benefit. Like, if I could sign Nia Jax or I could sign Taya Valkyrie, I'm signing Taya Valkyrie.
Oh, absolutely.
If I could sign Nia Jax or Ember Moon, I'm signing Ember Moon. If I could sign Nia Jax or half of the Stardom roster, I'm signing the Stardom roster. Like, if I could get Maki Ito over here on a more regular basis or sign Nia Jax, I would bring in the simp queen herself, right? Like,
she was fun, dude. She was funny in AEW.
I think she's fucking hilarious.
She's funny, dude. I was on the floor when I was watching her in AEW. You know who I want to see back in AEW though? B Priestley, bro.
Well, yeah, like, why is NXT UK still a thing? If you want to call budget cuts.
Yes, thank you. I forgot all about it. Yeah, it's true, man. Why the fuck is that still a thing? Like, why? Yeah. Why can't they just chop all that shit off? Because no one gives a shit. I bet you the ratings of that particular show is got to be no more than 100 people watching it week in, week out. If that. I dare say if that. You know what I mean? Because I don't get it, dude. Surely the expansion ain't happening anymore.
No.
NXT, exactly.
No.
So come on. Get rid of that shit already.
That plan was doomed when they tried to go into Japan. And the Japanese were like, nope, not happening, bro. Oh, we want to buy Stardom. And Bushiroad was like, nope, not happening. Oh, we're going to buy Pro Wrestling Noah. And Noah was like, nope.
Dragon Gate after that.
Dragon Gate. No. And Dragon Gate, like, them even talking to WWE is what cost them Pac.
Yeah, that's true. That's true, man.
I mean, he
I
had
mean,
just left there and was like, screw these guys. He goes back to Dragon Gate, has that killer run when he opened the Dream Gate Championship. And then they're like, oh, we're talking to WWE. And Pac was like, fuck you. I'm out.
can you imagine that? Jesus Christ, man. And I think they even tried to buy out All Japan too, bro.
Like, yeah, they
They
wanted
really
into
tried.
that market so bad. And the Japanese were like, no, fuck your Gaijin ass.
And see, and I'm
Straight
glad they
up.
all got together pretty much and said, fuck these guys. You know what I mean? Because it's true, man. Imagine that. Imagine they did infiltrate Japan. You know what I'm saying? Can you imagine that shit? And they try to put out all the big companies out of business. Fuck that. You know what I mean?
Ridiculous.
Ridiculous, man. So yeah, they deserve that shit.
So we do have some other contracts that we know are coming due as well. Like Johnny Gargano. I don't know. Does Johnny Gargano go to AEW? Does he fit into AEW? I don't think so. I don't think so.
Nah.
Kevin Steen seems like a no-brainer to me. You bring in Steen if you possibly
Absolutely.
can. Sami Zayn, supposedly his contract is coming due in the immediate future. I bring him in too. I don't know what happened with Sami Zayn. I don't understand what went wrong with Sami Zayn. I don't understand how you fuck up Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn might be the best babyface of an entire generation. And I tuned into SmackDown last night for about 5 minutes.
Did you see that crap?
And I saw Sami Zayn with Hit Row. And I just went, what are you doing? And I would say they're just trying to damage Sami Zayn for when his contract comes due so that he's not worth as much to AEW. But I think them actually doing that kind of crap to Sami Zayn actually increases his value to AEW because people just, the heat's not on Sami. The heat's on the company to where we look at it and go, you guys are so stupid. You're so stupid.
That's true, man. I mean, he turns chicken shit into chicken salad anyway, right? He makes the most of what he's got. I mean, did you see that little Jeff Hardy, Sami Zayn and Aaliyah?
No.
Little segment?
No.
Cringe. Absolutely cringe. I don't even know why Jeff Hardy is following around Aaliyah, who's the biggest, dumbest female on the planet right now, the way they've got her. Anyway, I'm not even a fan of her. She should have been released too. No offense, Aaliyah, but I've always thought you sucked from day one, even in NXT.
How does she get called up? And you still have talents like Io Shirai sitting in NXT.
What a fucking joke. It's a joke. It's a joke. I don't understand this company anymore. I mean, I haven't understood this company for a long time, but now.
But most of the talents for me now that I really want to see go away from the WWE are the women. Like, I want to see Io Shirai leave. I want to see Toni Storm leave. I want to see Bea Priestley leave. Like, you know?
It's ridiculous. And where is Toni Storm? I haven't seen her in a while, dude.
Where is Tony Cakes? Kevin Panetta wants to know where Tony Cakes is.
Tony Cakes, well, she's obviously eating a lot of cakes, like, you know, in the back, dude, because that's where the cakes have come from. Surely she's in catering all the time, dude. She's putting on those kilos, dude, those pounds. They're coming on board, dude. But man, she's great. She's good. WWE have got so many great females that they don't even know what to do with them, dude. Yeah. Really, they don't.
It's unfortunate. Let's talk a little bit of New Japan Pro Wrestling. We had Power Struggle this morning. Jimmy T, I know you said you were going to watch the show. Did you watch the show?
Unfortunately, I didn't get the chance. So
you slacker.
I wanted to watch it, but I had to do a few things, unfortunately, dude. So yeah, I'm planning on watching it tonight, though. So, or maybe after the show. Did you watch it, Jargo?
I have seen parts of the show. There's a couple of things that I did want to talk about on the show today. So spoiler alert, if you want to go watch Power Struggle before you watch this part of the show, knock yourselves out. But we had a couple of titles change hands this morning. Don't worry, Shingo Takagi, still your IWGP World Heavyweight Champion. Amazingly enough, Kazuchika Okada somehow found a way to defeat Tama Tonga to continue walking around with the version 4 in like the most like definitive match in the history of pro wrestling. But we did have the 6-man titles finally change hands. Chaos no longer running around with those, as we have the House of Torture now running around with the never open weight 6-man titles. That's going to be a complete clusterfuck. But more importantly, we no longer have Robbie Two Belts. Robbie Eagles had captured, the tag team championships of the junior division along with Tiger Mask, as well as being the IWGP junior heavyweight champion. Shout out to Michael Davis in the chat room this morning.
What's going on?
But now we have El Desperado, once again, your IWGP junior heavyweight champion, as we prepare for the best of Super Juniors. Now, I'm fine with this. I'm cool with this. I see what they're doing. But why did we take the title off of El Desperado to begin with? Why did we cast El Desperado aside like a useless piece of trash and give the title to Robbie Eagles? No offense to Robbie Eagles, but Despy got done dirty in that entire deal. They switched the title just so Hiromu could challenge for the title and lose, but they didn't want to blow Hiromu versus Despy, so they make the title change, give the belt to freaking Robbie Eagles. I called this at the time. This is outrageous to me. Despy's getting done dirty, and I can't believe I'm coming to the defense of El Desperado here.
Well, we both kind of called this. I think we both knew that Despy was going to get back into this picture, dude.
But why not just leave him as a long reigning champion? Despy earned that run.
Well, have you noticed they seem to be going back to what's old is new again, Jargo? Have you noticed that? They're trying to go back to how it was, if you get my drift. I mean, going by what you're telling me right now, I mean, that's what seems to be going on. And make no mistake about it, Okada's bringing that version 4 belt back as the number 1 title. I guarantee it. I don't even know why.
Title times did like Killer Cross and say TikTok. All right. The Divas title is going away. Daddy's home.
Oh, man. You know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of Cody's freaking tattoo, to be honest, the title, dude. If you really look at it, it looks like the Cody Rhodes Invitational.
Like, it works for Shingo. Like, for some reason, that belt looks good with Shingo, but yeah, I don't get it. So now I also feel like Best of the Super Juniors, which is coming up, because, it's New Japan Pro Wrestling. We have to run as many shows as we possibly can. So we're going to run World Tag League and Best of the Super Juniors at the same time. So it's going to be like Monday, Best of Super Juniors, Tuesday, World Tag League, Wednesday, Best of Super Juniors, Thursday, World Tag. It's too much. It's too much. As I even lose my hood, I'm getting so worked up here, right? But now I feel like Best of Super Juniors is a freaking waste.
Yeah.
Has there ever been a more foregone conclusion going into a tournament? Hiromu Takahashi is going to win his 3rd Best of Super Juniors in a row. There's not even anybody to challenge him here. Like with Despy winning this title back, clearly Wrestle Kingdom is going to be El Desperado versus Hiromu Takahashi, which I'm fine with. But Hiromu winning Best of Super Juniors for the 3rd year in a row continues to separate him from that junior division. I much would have preferred Hiromu winning the title from Robbie Eagles when they did it back at, I forget what show that even was now.
It was a while ago.
It was a while ago, but Hiromu should have won the title back there. Despy should have won Best of Super Juniors, and then you could do that inside of the Tokyo Dome. I don't like this at all. I don't feel like it's good for Hiromu. It's not good for Desperado. The only guy who benefited out of this entire thing was Robbie Eagles, and I feel like the biggest rub he has gotten from this entire run in New Japan Pro Wrestling is being junior tag team champions with Tiger Mask.
Yeah, I mean,
like in the long run, that's the biggest rub he has gotten out of this entire program.
Yeah, well, look, Robbie Eagles is great. Don't get me wrong. I think he needs more mic work. Obviously, he's not that great of a talker, and he sort of sounds like, I don't know if you know what a jockey is. You know the horse races, the jockeys.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, same definition. Yep.
Yeah, he kind of sounds like, the way they talk, they got a high-pitched sort of voice.
Kind of looks like a horse jockey.
And he does look like a horse jockey. Absolutely, he does. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if he was a friggin' jockey. But, no disrespect to Robbie Eagles. He's one of the best Australian cruiserweights, period. Right?
He's a hell of a talent.
Hell of a talent. But, Jugger, let me ask you, man. Do you think it's time New Japan reset this junior heavyweight division in many ways?
How
I
so?
mean, if we're gonna have Hiromu win his third friggin' best of juniors tournament, right? Where do you
There,
go? What happens? Like, where are we going after that? Who's he gonna like feud with next? Like, you
well,
can't
there's,
have this all the time, dude. Maybe they need to just
you know what Hiromu needs? He needs Kushida's name to show up on this list of release talents. That's what he needs at this point. I mean, because the rest of the division, Hiromu is so far above the rest of that division in the booking, in his popularity, in merchandise sales, in exposure. Like, you got to have Tiger Mask opposite of Liger. You've got to have two equal standing people inside of the ring together. And this has always been my complaint when Hiromu says, I want to main event the Tokyo Dome. Well, that's great, but you got to have somebody on the other side of the ring. And there's nobody on the other side of the ring that is as big of a name as Hiromu Takahashi at this point. Like, you got to keep killing time until Kushida's contract is up and he can come back to New Japan Pro Wrestling. I can't think of a bigger name.
Yeah, no, Kushida, absolutely. And he's killing it, man. In NXT, the way his matches are, he's so much more aggressive now, which I kind of like. But as far as Hiromu goes, I want to see the Naito Hiromu match, dude. I want to go that way.
We got the build for that, and then we got cut off because of COVID.
And I was pissed, dude. I was so looking forward to that. I want to see it again. Screw it. Once Naito's, healthy again and is back on his feet, literally, I want to see that again moving forward, man. Because right now, I know he's on a heavyweight, but he's got too much charisma and he's too good of a talent to keep in this friggin' junior heavyweight division, dude.
But you can't move him up to heavyweight. You can't.
What do you do?
I mean, and it's kind of the same problem Kushida had, which is the whole reason Kushida left. Like, Kushida had done everything there was to do, but he's too small. You cannot move him up to heavyweight and have it be believable, like you did with Ibushi, like you did an Ospreay, like you did a Kenny Omega. Like, if Kushida put on that much weight, he wouldn't be able to do what Kushida does. If Hiromu put on that much weight, he'd turn into Shingo Takagi. Like, he doesn't have the frame to put that kind of weight on.
He's got that baby fat sort of look.
Yeah. He's got the Adam Cole fat piece of shit thing going for him, right? Like, Hiromu's not going to have a six-pack. He just ain't built that way. You know what I mean?
But it suits him, though, dude. It's not like I wouldn't want him any different, but you're right. He's in a rock and a hard place. I mean, would he ever leave New Japan Pro Wrestling, do you think?
I don't think he would leave New Japan Pro Wrestling. I could see him coming over for like a summer, kind of like Suzuki has done this year, and kind of make his rounds between like a GCW, Impact Wrestling, AEW, where you get like, a full tour of Hiromu Takahashi and all these different promotions. Go down to Mexico, work some stuff at CMLL, maybe jump over to AAA, depending on whose partnership you want to follow. I could see like Hiromu coming over for like Liger used to do, right?
Right.
Like, Liger would get so big inside of the tag or of the junior division, they'd have to send him away for a while. He'd come over to WCW, do a couple of tours, and then go back, and you get like the big welcoming hero kind of thing. And Liger could run off of that for a couple of years as you make your way all the way through Japan and then come back over for WCW. Like, I could see Hiromu doing that. And I think that's probably the best course of action for Hiromu. Kind of like, I was not mad at Kushida when he left and went to NXT, because when that contract is up, he's going to be the conquering hero returning to Japan. And that's the only way Kushida could get to be a bigger deal than he already was.
Absolutely. And if you remember, he was in tears. Like, he felt like he backstabbed the company. Like,
Tanahashi was in tears.
Yeah. I mean, that was pretty emotional stuff, dude. And that was real. That was no fucking, wrestling storyline. That shit was legit. He felt like
he's like the John Cena of New Japan Pro Wrestling. And I say that in the respect that, like, we have video of Kushida, like, making championship belts when he's like 4 years old. I'm going to be a pro wrestler. I want to live New Japan Pro Wrestling. Like, he is the all, like, Japanese, like, from a very early age, I wanted to be a pro wrestler, and people love that story.
Absolutely, dude. Absolutely. And look, that would be great, but we don't know his status. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know his status. How long did he even sign up for? Do you know?
I mean, at that time, I think everything was 5-year contracts.
Well, then it must be coming up because, wait, 2018, I think he left, wasn't it?
Yeah, so that'd be like 23.
All right. Unless he gets released, then yeah, we're not going to see him in Japan for another 2 years. Then, unfortunately, dude. You know what I mean? But when I say reset, I'm talking about maybe sign up a lot of these Ring of Honor guys now that have been released, whatever the case. I'm also hearing that Tony Khan being interested in all those guys was bullcrap. Like that,
I've heard that as well. So
yeah, so I don't know what's happening there anymore because I'm hearing it from all sorts of places. But I think, man, they need to look deep in the talent pool right now and bring in some new faces, man, and feed them to Hiromu. I mean, you know what I mean? Because he's beat everybody, he's done everything. What can you do? You know what I mean?
The big one is Dragon Lee. Dragon Lee has a history with New Japan Pro Wrestling. New Japan Pro Wrestling holds Dragon Lee in very high esteem, or Yu Lee, as they call him over in New Japan Pro Wrestling. But, you know, the last time they were in the ring together, he also broke Hiromu's neck. Those two guys are like the biggest frenemies in Mexican pro wrestling. I don't know. I don't know what you do with Dragon Lee at this point. If I'm New Japan, I absolutely want to bring him in, but it's kind of Peter and the chicken, right? Like those two guys see one another. You got to be ready because it's about to go down.
Yeah, absolutely. But then you say that, but then what about Bryan Danielson?
Well, it seems to me Danielson has his hands full with another New Japan Pro Wrestling talent because this morning we obviously saw the Dragon eat, you know, the guy who came to slay him in Zack Sabre Jr. But after Zack Sabre Jr. tapped out Shingo Takagi, he made the comment, "I've slayed the Japanese dragon, bring me the American dragon." And Zack Sabre Jr. versus Bryan Danielson, that's on my short list of matches that, yes, I absolutely want to see during this Bryan Danielson, I'm going to attempt to kill myself tour that he seems to be on.
I'm going to attempt to kill myself tour. That's awesome. That's great. But at the same time, very unfortunate because we don't want him to kill himself. But if he keeps going the way
not
he's going,
ideally, no.
And his chest, for Christ's sake, man, it's getting worse and worse every week. But man, look, like I said, it's a real New Japan right now have sort of put themselves into a corner a little bit in terms of booking this junior heavyweight division. I don't know how they get out of it, dude. It's going to be tough. But that's why I say a little reset where just reshuffle things, maybe repackage a few guys. I don't know, man, but some sort of change needs to happen and fast.
I also find it just a little ironic. Like, I love me some Kazuchika Okada, but 3 nights of Wrestle Kingdom, and Okada has issues with 3 individuals: Kota Ibushi, Will Ospreay, Shingo Takagi. Are we going to get 3 nights of heavy rain? Like, is this going to be like Return of the Rainmaker? Like, is that what we're doing?
Everybody?
Like, we're going to Rainmaker the fuck out of everybody. I'm taking all these titles. I'm throwing them all in the trash. And the only one we're keeping is the version 4. That's what's happening, right? Man. Like, because that's kind of what it feels like is happening right now.
So what you're basically saying is it's going to be a Rainmaker bukkake on everybody.
Yes. Yes.
Well,
I mean,
man,
we've all seen that GIF, right? Where you get a Rainmaker, you get a Rainmaker, you get a Rainmaker. Like that's what's going to be going down in the Tokyo Dome, man. Like everybody's going to feel a Rainmaker. Like Ibushi's going down, Ospreay's going down, Shingo's going down. All the belts are going in the trash, and we're keeping the V4. That's what's going down.
Well, if it leads to keeping the V4, then I'm all for it, dude. Rain on me too, Kazuchika. Why not?
You get a rainmaker.
I mean, when it comes to Okada, man, fuck it. He can do whatever the fuck he wants, dude. But I don't like this overexposure of wrestlers right now going on in New Japan. And look, maybe it's not their fault because of the situation that they're in, but they're really overexposing a few wrestlers right now, dude.
I feel like my problem is, okay, so night one, he goes out and he beats Ibushi's ass. Night two, he goes out and he beats Osprey's ass. Night three, he goes out and he beats Shingo Takagi's ass. And he stands victorious at the end of it.
And just
then what? Like you've just
that's when
but you've squashed everybody in the span of 3 freaking days.
Well, I'll tell you
what is Naito gonna like hobble his ass down to the ring and be like, Rainmaker, me too, motherfucker? Like what else are we gonna do here?
Dude, you didn't just say that, and I could picture it too. Oh man, look, man, it's funny though. One thing that you've been spot on about all year, dude, is Okada, and the way they're booking him, dude. You've been spot on, like to a T. Haven't gotten it wrong with him at all. In many ways, I'd love to see it, right? Because it sounds absolutely hideous and funny at the same time. But the real me, they shouldn't really do this. You know what I mean? Because it's going to destroy the whole roster, dude. Pretty much.
Right. Like
you know what I mean? So
the only thing that could save it, like you bring up Bryan Danielson, my counter would be the only thing that saves it is Okada standing there posing and Devil's Sky hits and Kenny comes walking out. Like that's the only thing that could really save it. I'm not even sure Jay White could save it at this point.
No,
you know
I Jay White. See, I forgot about Jay White. Boy, has his stock gone down. Let's be honest.
See what happens when you send him over to the United States and you don't do anything with him? I mean,
I feel so bad for him.
I'm looking forward to the matchup with Tomohiro. Like I think those promos are fucking great.
Fuck, man. I love fucking Jay White. He's still the man to me, and I'm sure he's still the man to you. But when you really look at the bigger picture, dude,
do something.
You got to do something, man. You got to do something big time, and you can see it in him, dude. I feel like the hunger is not quite there right now, dude, and I can feel it, man. And it's bad for him because when he's not happy, he ain't happy, dude. You know what I'm saying? Yep. And I just hope, I don't know what the hell's happening, man. They need to get their boys back.
Speaking of getting their boys back, I already saw a report. All right. And I'm going to squash it here on November 6th before all these freaking Mark reporters start reporting this stupid bullshit. Major New Japan Pro Wrestling star contract expiring in January. All of their contracts expire in January.
What?
All of them.
That's normal. That's normal.
That's normal. It's been that way forever.
For years.
It's been that way forever.
What's wrong with people?
If anyone, just stop. Stop.
Man, if anyone watches Japanese wrestling in general, but especially New Japan, you know that's the norm, all right? They've always done that. Always done that, okay? The exception, I think, was Okada, who got a 2-year deal at one stage. Did he not? And I think even Kenny did at one stage as well.
Yep.
Other than that, this is the norm. It's always 1-year deals, man. That's just the way they work.
Signed a 5-year deal.
Oh, well, there you go. See, and that's all new. But previously, for years, it was always 1-year deals.
Always expire the day after Wrestle Kingdom. Always.
Absolutely. Now, that's true. So people...
Just stop.
Exactly. Just stop. God. I mean, how can you call yourself friggin' New Japan fans if you don't even know that fact?
Right.
I mean, seriously.
Shout out to Michael Davis. He says the only benefit of Jay White being in the U.S. is he got to meet him at WrestleCade. That's fair.
Well, that's cool.
That's fair. I hope he was a dick to you. And I say that only in the respect that Jay White should be a dick to everybody, like all the time, like MJF style.
Well, when I was in the back, when they did a pay-per-view here, the Showdown, whatever, Super Showdown, something like that. It was similar to the WWE Super Showdown that was here, the pay-per-view. Down Under Showdown, whatever the hell it was called. I was in the back, like mingling with all the wrestlers, And Jay White just looked like he didn't want to fucking interact with anybody.
That's
So
the way he should be. He should be the emo kid sitting in the corner contemplating
was.
cutting himself with his switchblade. I mean,
I
like,
kid you not, he was in the corner literally on his phone, not giving anybody eye contact, dude. Nobody.
let's talk a little bit about Full Gear. And of course, next week when we do the blow off, we can do a full preview for Full Gear. But Jimmy T, I here in the United States, the cost of a pay-per-view is 50 American dollars. So in Australia, I have to assume that's the equivalent of about what, $8,312 if I did the conversion right. Is that accurate?
Get this, Jargo. Guess how much it actually costs us to get the pay-per-view next week?
Okay, so I'm gonna actually try to do math here. So $50 American, that's gotta be about what, $90 down there?
No way. Did you say $50 American?
No, it'd be like $70 down there, right?
No, more like 65.
65.
Yeah, about there, 67, like roughly. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But get this, dude. We only pay $29.99.
What the hell kind of horse shit is that?
Yeah, I don't get it, dude. We're actually paying a lot cheaper than you guys are, and this is through Fight TV. I'm talking
really?
about. Yeah. So for whatever reason, AEW is not on our traditional pay-per-view, like on satellite or cable. For whatever reason, I don't know why and how that's even happening. And Michael Davis is attending Full Gear. Well, Michael, guess who else is attending? Our boy Christopher Ames is also going to be there. So if you see him, give him a slap for us both, all right?
$5.
Make sure you do. $5. Give him the big Canadian whomp.
Okay,
You know what
so
I mean?
so here's the card, and I guess here's the question, right? So we have Kenny Omega versus Hangman Page, Dr. Britt Baker, DMD versus Tay Conti, Bryan Danielson versus Miro, the Inner Circle versus American Top Team, the Lucha Bros versus FTR, Darby Allin versus MJF, CM Punk versus Eddie Kingston, and the Super Click versus Jer Classic Express.
It's not
Jimmy
that good
T,
of a card.
Is this card? Well, I mean, it's kind of stacked. I mean, when you
It's
look at it, right?
Stacked by name wise, but is it
Right.
really?
But is it worth you parting with, 8,712 Aussie dollars to watch this pay-per-view? I mean,
Well,
that's my real question.
Well, let me tell you this. Officially, the pay-per-view costs $30.99.
$30.
A little bit off.
I might try to use a VPN and
Yeah.
route myself through Sydney and see if I can get it for $30 instead of 50.
Because you know what you'll be paying? If you're paying $30.99 Australian via American money, dude, you're paying peanuts.
Right,
Well,
that's what I'm saying.
Not total peanuts, but roughly 20 something bucks.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
and
saying?
I mean, I paid $20 for it, but $50, like, this does not feel
Nah.
like a $50 card to me.
Nah, not at all, man.
Why does it not feel like a $50 card? Because on paper, with the exception of, Dr. Britt Baker versus Tay Conti, which I don't think
silly.
that's going to be a very good match.
No.
The rest of these matches all look like they should. Like, I feel like I should be way more hyped for this show than I am. I'm just not.
There really isn't. You know why? Because they sort of built this card up pretty late when you think about it, dude.
Michael Davis, I think you're still watching. What match are you most looking forward to seeing at the show? I'm curious, like, what is the match that's going to put your butt in a seat?
Well, I'm interested to know. I mean, what would you say is the best match of the evening, other than Kenny and Hangman Page, which is probably intriguing, right?
I think Danielson versus Miro is the most intriguing match of the night. And I think it'll
Definitely.
probably be the best match of the night.
Yeah, I mean, for sure, it should be. It should live. I mean, put it this way: they're both going to have red raw friggin' chests. That's for sure, right?
Oh god.
It's yeah, and Miro's going to absolutely chop the shit out of Danielson.
I think
But,
Miro's the best thing going in AEW right now. God's
best
Forsaken champion, I think, is just freaking fantastic.
Let me say this: actually, if he's not in the PWI #1 guy next year, because we're going by from the last top 500, and go a year later, he should be #1. Going by his run, and if it continues on by next year, he should be rated #1, dude. Let's be honest.
It's going to be Okada.
You think so?
It's going to be Okada because he's going to win the championship at Wrestle Kingdom. He's going to put down Shingo. He's going to put down Ospreay. He's going to put down Ibushi. And I mean, he's going to solidify himself as the god of Japanese professional wrestling. And he's going to run with that belt for the rest of the year. Like I think Okada is already the number one on the PWI next year because Miro, is Miro going to win the championship between now and a year from now? I don't think so. Maybe. Michael Davis says Bryan versus Miro, the Minneapolis 5-on-5 street fight, Omega versus Hangman. Those are the matches that he's the most excited for. Jimmy T,
I'm surprised.
Is this killing the town? Like, because I don't feel like Hangman is in the spot where he should be winning the championship as I look at this roster right now, but can he possibly lose it again?
Yeah, I actually do think he was going to lose it again. I'll tell you why. Are they really hyping him up, bro? Think about it.
It feels like he's the biggest baby face in the company right now.
Right,
if you listen to
with the fans.
reactions.
Right, but when you look at the way the company is sort of pushing him, does he look like he's going to win? Honestly.
I don't see it.
Neither do I.
Although he did say on Dynamite, hey, Kenny, I think you forgot something. Keep it warm. You got 10 days.
That was cool. I like that.
That felt like a pretty definitive statement. Right. And if you go off like the old school rules of pro wrestling, you never want to make the babyface a liar. Like the babyface never promises something that he's not going to deliver on. Right. And that felt like a pretty definitive statement. That was the first time I was like, oh man, maybe Hangman is winning this. But the timing doesn't feel right to me.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. I don't know why we think like that. And I'm a fan of Hangman Page, no doubt about it. I'm a fan of his, right? I just don't think he's ready to, hold the company on his shoulders, dude. I just don't think. Well, he's ready, but like.
For me, it's more about like what's coming out of it, right? And as you look at Kenny, obviously you have the Danielson thing, you have the CM Punk thing that's kind of looming off of over here in the distance with Happy Phil, but I think people want to see it. You still got the Moxley. When Moxley comes back, he is going to be treated like a huge baby face. Like he's going to be super over with that crowd. So I think you could do like another 6 months to a year with Kenny on top if you had to spread it out. When you look at Hangman, though, you do have the Miro connection. You could bring Moxley back as a heel. You do have Adam Cole. You could turn CM Punk. Like they do have potential matches for a babyface champion, but nobody feels like it's that hot at this point because to me, as I look at kind of the landscape, the two options to take the title off of Hangman Page, whether it be in 3 months or 3 years right now, are Miro and Adam Cole. And I don't think either one is in a position to where they could legitimately challenge for that title and have it be believable that they're going to take that title away from Hangman Page. The timing does not seem right to me.
Yeah, no, same here, man. It just doesn't feel right, like you said. I mean, see, but in saying that, I think Miro is going to be the one that does get a title a lot sooner than later because them taking the TNT championship off of him means they got plans real soon for him, dude.
So do you put the title on Hangman, have Hangman beat Miro, but can Miro take that loss right now? Because I feel like that would like Miro taking a loss at all. Like I think he'd be better off taking a loss to Danielson than he would be losing a match to Hangman for the title.
But see, even the Danielson match, I think, is not the right matchup, and that's not their fault. That's circumstances' fault. You know what I mean? Shit happens, right? But yeah, man. Look, because the thing is, whoever loses between Danielson and Miro, it takes away a lot of heat from each one of them. You know what I mean?
Unless it's Danielson, because I mean, you can see Danielson versus Hangman, you can see Danielson versus Omega. Like either way, the Danielson thing works. If Miro wins, it feels like it's really forecasting Page to win, unless you're turning Kenny babyface, and that doesn't.
That doesn't seem like it's happening anytime soon, dude.
Yeah,
no way. I just don't. I think Kenny, look, call me a Kenny Mark. Maybe I'm biased. I feel Kenny should be going on a longer run right now with a world title. I'm enjoying him being champion, dude. I'm not gonna lie, goofy or not, I kind of just enjoy watching him.
I don't think I've ever enjoyed a Kenny Omega championship reign.
Well, I was gonna bring that up before. Like, do we?
I mean, his run as IWGP champion wasn't very good either.
The shit, dude. Let's be real. That was the drizzling shit. And that's the problem with Hangman. I think Hangman's better in the chase, just like Kenny was. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Kenny was so much better, in the chase, man. And it took years until he got to that point.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But for whatever reason, it worked with Kenny in Japan. Would it work with Hangman losing, those big title matches all the time? And eventually where the fans are going to be like, screw this.
You're killing the town.
Right. So they got to tread carefully here, man. It's tough, bro. I don't know, man. Sometimes I think, do these guys truly know what they're doing when it comes to the booking? Because they book themselves in a corner quite frequently, dude. They really do, which puzzles me.
We will do a full preview for Full Gear next week here on the Blow Off after we see what they do on Dynamite and Rampage. Of course, you can catch our immediate thoughts on Rampage over at channelattitude.com, the Hamin Media Group. Just search Hamin Media on your favorite podcast listening device. And Jimmy T, that's it for the Blow Off this week. We actually ran about 6 minutes over. Got couple people interacting. It's nice to see as we go live here. We're still kind of getting the show up off the ground. I'd like to thank you all for watching and or listening. If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button. Then visit us over at the Hamin Media Group, haminmediagroup.podbean.com, over at theblowoff.com, at markmedia.com, michaeljargo.com, DJ Mass Effects on Twitter, at Not Jargo. Jimmy T, tell people what's going on with the PWC.
Well, hopefully SmackDown review will be coming up, even though it's going to be the drizzling shit. I'll tell you that from now. So spoiler alert, as Heyman would say. Also, the skirmish will be dropping tomorrow. And yeah, man, I mean, that's just about it. So find us over here at at markmedia.com and at the pwcnetwork.podbean.com.
We will have a new episode of Destino coming in the immediate future as well. I'm going to be sitting down with the editors over at Monthly Pieroso magazine. Looking forward to that. That'll be fun as we talk a little bit of Stardom and New Japan Pro Wrestling as we wrap up the year. MichaelJargo.com. Everything's over there, of course, over at markmedia.com. We'll talk to you next week for a new edition of the Blow Off. For now, we're off like a prom dress. See ya.